Welcome back to Tech Samadhan. Today we will understand exception handling. So, ever had Python or any code crash unexpectedly? One small mistake, like dividing by zero, accessing a missing file, can break your entire program. But don't worry, exception handling is here to save the day. In this video, we will learn how to catch and fix errors because they cause problems. So, we will catch them before they cause it, making your code more robust and professional. So, what is exception handling? So, in Python, errors or exceptions stop code execution. Exception handling prevents program crashes and allows recovery from errors. So, this is our syntax for exception handling of some small code of division by zero. So, this code might cause an error because division anything divided by zero is infinity, and in programming it will raise an error. So, to handle this error, this is except. So, this is try and except block. So through this except, we will handle the error. So without try and except, the program would crash. So if I run this code, then division by zero would not be allowed. See here, division by zero is not allowed. So this is because of the except block. But if I commented this, if I commented this, and as I said, the code will crash. Yeah, you can see the code is crashing. Enter a number, it's asking. So moving forward, you can see this is the same code, division by zero. But as we know that exception handling is done using try, except. Now there one more keyword that is else and the last keyword that is finally. Here is detailed explanation now. So basically what this try block does, it contains the code that might cause exception. Yes, this is my code and it contains this code which causes an exception. Then we had this except block. So this contains the code that runs if exception occurs. So this has code that causes exception and this will run if exception occurs. So if here it is 5, if it's 5. So basically, yeah, it has the containing the code but execution gets completed. Why? Because exception won't occur there. So the except will run only when the we can say the code will give us an error at that time itself. The except block will run. Now moving forward, here we will have an else block. So this else block contains the code that runs if no exception occurs. So this will run the code when no exception is occurs. As here we don't have an else. So how we would understand that our code might be incorrect and it is not causing any exception. So using this else block. So this will run if no exception occurs. And last is the finally keyword. So the code that runs no matter what, whether an exception occurs or not. So this will run no matter what exception occurs or not. So basically here my try block has that code which might cause an exception. Yes, correct. Now this except block would run if the code causes an exception. Then to this finally will tell that execution got completed but without an error. Then this else block. So this will run if there is no exception occurring or no error is present. So then the else will run if no exception occurs. Then too my code get completed. So this finally will run no matter there is an execution or not. So this is the same code but with more keywords. Not only the try except block but it has one more except keyword. So what's this for? So as in the above code, there was try and except that error occurring code, and if that error occurred, then it will get catch in my except keyword or in an except block. So improved code. This one is the improved code of the above code version. So it's good practice to catch specific exceptions rather than using a bare except clause. This makes code more readable and easier to debug. Now this except zero division error. Now this will, what will it do? It will catch a specific zero division error, correct? And handles it. Now what does this do? So catches any other exceptions that are not caught by this block. So this except exception as E, it will catch any other exception which will not be catched by the above block. Else will execute if no exception are raised in the try block. And finally, this will execute no matter there are exception, no matter there are exception occurring or not. This is useful for cleanup action like closing file or releasing the resources. And the else will run if the this try block won't have any code block which causing an exception. Moving forward, so this many types of error are present in Python. As you can see, this is a zero division error, cause value error, invalid data type. Because type is int, we are by mistakenly passing a string. So this is value error. So we must understand it whenever an error message prompts out in the terminal value error. So basically it must be some casting or invalid data type error. Type error, operation on incomplete types. So this 5 plus hello. So it won't occur because we can concatenate on the strings, not an integer and string. So operation are on incompatible. File not found error. So missing file. Index error, invalid index. So list is 1, 2, 3. So my list has an apple, banana, cherry. So number is 0, 1, 2. If I am calling out 4, but there is nothing present because the last range is 3. So that is index error. And key error will always be there when we have declared some dictionary. Moving forward, handling specific error. So catch specific exception for better debugging. So this is similarly try block, enter a number. It will ask us to enter a number. If we enter 0 and if our number is causing an exception, then it will move towards zero division error. And if we enter some different number, so, so rather than number, if we entered some string, so this except will work. Please enter a valid number. Value error, invalid literal for int with base 10. But we are not doing anything. But why it's giving us value error then? Don't know what it's catching. But different error, different solution. So for specific error, catch specific exception for better debugging. That's why this more except. So other than if it fails to catch any other error, it will catch it, as I explained it in earlier. Using else with try and except. So what this else will do? It will print if there is no exception seen around the try block. So the else block run only if there is no error. And the last finally, so it will execute no matter is there exception cause or no exception cause. So it's useful for better practice for clean error handling. That final keyword is important because it helps us to understand that yeah the file is getting closed or cleaning up the resource. The last error is raising custom errors. So this can be raised by us. So we can manually trigger exception for specific condition. Here we need to enter an age. If age is less than 18, here we will raise an error or else access granted as we did in the loop, conditional loop. But there we haven't understood what is an exception handling in Python. So there we just compared and if it is not satisfying this condition, then definitely there is an one print message we did, you are not allowed. But here we are going to raise an exception. We are manually triggering the exception that No, you must be 18 years or older. So best practices for exception handling, as you know, use specific exception like except instead of except. Use finally for clean, so we can use this final keyword to clean up the closing files, releasing memory. We can raise custom error when necessary, raise value error. And don't overuse try except fix root causes instead. So we can't use this like inevitably. We need to first find the root cause and remove it. This error handling is useful to like uh, a bigger program. Okay. So summary of exception handling, we can say there is a try keyword. This that might cause an error. It has the code that might cause an error. Except this will handles the error. Else we have declared here else. So this will run if no error occurs. Finally, runs regardless of an error and raise manual and error trigger. So there are the five concept of the exception handling in Python. Master them all. And that's it. Now you know how to handle error in Python like a pro. Exception handling is must have skill for writing robust and professional code that doesn't crash unexpectedly. So in the next video we'll cover Python object oriented programming, one of most powerful way to organize and scale your project. If you found this useful, just hit that like button, subscribe and comment below. What's the most common error you have faced in Python?